on this episode of the Sorority Chat podcast.
But I also want to empower our clients and your listeners to kind of reduce a little bit of their mental load and figure out systems. I mean, the phones are here to stay, right? AI is kind of here to stay. So how can you use it in your favor? Like use it as a personal secretary, use it as administration, use it that way to take some things off your plate. Because part of the time, you're not lazy, you just have too much on your mind.
Hey y'all, and welcome to Sorority Chat. I'm Liz Alexander, a designer and sorority alum who's obsessed with all things Greek life. My mission? To bring you real conversations, smart insights, and fun stories that help make sorority living even better. So grab your favorite beverage, get comfy, and let's chat. Happy New Year, sorority chatters. Welcome to 2026. In the spirit of getting your act together in January, as we often are with New Year's resolutions and such, our guest today is Tara Stewart. And she is a Lexington-based personal organizer, a mom of 3 boys, board game champion, and queen of a well-organized brunch plan. Tara launched her business before the pandemic hit, and nearly 6 years later, she now leads a team helping families and also businesses cut through the chaos and reclaim their spaces. In this episode, we are talking about how to take her organizing magic digital, specifically how to make the most of the free Apple Reminders app. Whether you're managing a household, a class schedule, or just your own mental clutter, Tara's about to make your iPhone your new personal assistant. Welcome, Tara.
Hello, Liz. How you doing?
I'm great. How are you?
Good. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you. 2025 went by in a blink, so it's kind of wild to even be saying anything about 2026, and it'll probably take me 3 months to remember to write it. So.
Well, at least we don't have to write checks anymore, so we're good.
Every now and then I still do, because that's exactly what I was thinking of when I was thinking about writing out the year. Well, I'm excited to have you on because, like I said, January tends to be a time, it's a fresh new year. We're kind of coming off the holidays. People are trying to get their act together and trying to go into the new year more organized. And so I want to just start with the basics and talk about the Apple Reminders app, what exactly it is, and why you love it so much.
Okay, so first of all, my apologies, Android users. I'm sorry. You've destroyed with the green text bubble, and now I'm only going to chat about the one that I know and love. But it is free, like you said. And a lot of times when working in homes with clients, some of the things that we come up with are trying to come up with solutions that they can implement on the daily. So I thought this would be a great fit for your listeners because it's great for students and everybody. But the first thing you need to do is it does come with the iPhone. However, sometimes people delete it without realizing it. So I'm going to show you when you go to the App Store what you're looking for. So you are looking for that. It's called Reminders. And that's the little logo. So that's the first thing you need to know is make sure it's downloaded, make sure you have the current version and what have you. So download that, make sure it's on there. When you open it, and I'm just going to give you kind of like the high overview of what mine looks like, and then we can kind of drill down in. It's going to look like this. Now, obviously your categories and lists are different, right? But it goes across and syncs across all systems. So it'll sync over to your Mac, it'll sync to your iPad, everywhere. So, and I'm kind of jumping ahead, so show me a little bit of grace. But one of the things I like my clients to do is set up tidy routines, right? Instead of feeling like, well, how come I can't get the kids to put away their stuff? Or how come I keep forgetting to swap over the laundry? Or I don't remember to have the lint filter checked every 3 months or whatever. You're going to use your Reminders app as digital reminders. So with that kind of in your brain, instead of trying to have a to-do list that you keep losing the paper on, or you write on a Post-it note and move it around. So with the Reminders app, you're going to set up repeating reminders. So instead of trying to remember who it was that you contacted for, again, like maybe cleaning out the lint filter once a year, or who the painter is that you have. Like I have a wooden door and it needs painted every 2 years. Well, I can't remember who that is. It's in my reminders and every 2 years it pops up. So you're going to set up your list accordingly to how your life works. So I'm going to start from the jump, from the very beginning on how I do mine. And please jump in and interrupt me if I start going too fast, because I talk fast. So in my case, I have my business type lists at the top with pink icons and then personal ones at the bottom.
Okay.
And I'm going to show you how to set up the list as well as how you can add a partner to the list, maybe a new husband.
Subtle.
Yeah, right. So that you can include family members, right? So that maybe all the mental load isn't on you, but you can, have either a list that has your team or your partner or your kids. So that's how I do mine. You'll see that I've got my husband added to a couple of those. So the first thing you're going to want to do is you will click at this little icon at the top. It looks like a list with a little plus sign, and you literally are just going to create a list. Now, I'm going to make a Liz podcast list because that seems appropriate.
It's taking all my willpower to not pick up my phone and do this, so I cannot wait to implement this when we're finished.
Okay, so I'm just starting with the very, very basics, and I got some really cool features at the end, so I'll try not to get ahead of myself. So Liz podcast. Now, there's two types of lists. The most common one you're going to use every time is just this list that says standard, okay? I'll circle back to the grocery one, which is epic. But if you want to make it fun, you can pick a color. So I know your company's more of a lighter blue, right? It tends to be a little bit lighter blue. And then you can also change the icon. You can go with some boring ones like they have, or you can click your emoji button right there and pick an emoji. So I'm going to give you the little puppy dog because I know you have a dog. So I picked the little, let's see, I'm sorry. I'm trying to do this two different ways, friends. I'm like trying to do it backwards. There we go. So Liz is now a little puppy dog in her color blue. And it's a basic list. And then I just hit the check. Okay, that's my first list. And there's nothing on there. But I'm going to assume that maybe once a week, maybe you update your mileage tracker, or once a week you need to do something. So let's start with one that just repeats. So what do you do once a week that you're like, I might forget? Give me anything.
I record a video for social media.
Okay, so social video. And this week it's going to be on new habits. Well, actually, no, I don't want to be specific because it repeats, right? So we're going to have it say weekly video. And do you usually do that? We're going to pretend you do that on a Monday.
I will allow that. That's great.
Okay. So I'm going to type weekly video to my little list. I'm going to click the little button that looks like a calendar. And then I'm going to click custom because I want it to repeat. Okay. So here's where you're going to put if it's going to repeat weekly, monthly, what have you. I'm going to click repeat. And you can even do a custom one. So I know it's flipped backwards, and I'm sorry. So
no, I can see it fine. It looks
okay.
good.
So daily, weekly, bi-weekly. I have something that I do every 3 weeks, and you can actually click custom and make it repeat every 3 weeks on a Monday. So it's very detail oriented.
Yeah.
So you can go to that level on the repeat. Now on something that is I just need to do it today. Like today, Liz needs to take the dog to get a doggy pedicure. So doggy pedicure. And we're going to do it today, and you just click today. Now, if there's something you need to do tomorrow that you're afraid you're going to forget, like you forgot to get your mom a Christmas gift. So mom's gift, you're going to put it in there. You're going to click, I need to do it tomorrow, and then it adds it tomorrow. Now, I'm going to back up a beat, and now you'll see that I have 3 things added to my today list. And I'm hoping, well, it's one of my actual things I need to do. And then I also apparently need to do a weekly video. Daily. Oh, I made you do that daily. I'm so sorry. Every day you're going to have to make a video. And then your doggy pedicure.
Surely we can edit that.
I know, right? So that's just a basic list. And you would make yours in categories, again, that fit your life. So for me, I've got one that's just general business stuff. I've got a social media category, client needs, blog ideas, website. So for example, the way I would do blog ideas in my life is if I'm just, cooking dinner and I'm like, oh, and I'm even going to take it up a notch. I'm going to use Siri. Oh, she probably heard me. And I'm going to say, Siri, can you add organize underneath the sink to my reminders list?
Okay, I added it.
All right. So now my brain is going 500 miles an hour. Instead of me picking up my phone, I'm just going to tell Siri to add it.
Yeah.
Okay. Now she automatically has a default. Okay.
What do you want to change it to?
She wants to have a combo.
I want to change it to blog ideas.
What do you want to be reminded about?
I need to do a blog about underneath the sink.
Okay, I added it.
Okay, so it will add it to that list. Now, I am going to skip around real quick. And Siri, if you don't tell it what list to remind it to, it's automatically going to send it to a default. Okay, and you can change what default list it sends it to. So you're just going to go into settings. Now, another side little note, if you can ever find what you're looking for in settings, you can actually search for it, right? So you're just going to type reminders in the settings. It's going to bring it up and it's going to say down here, hopefully default list. So when I use Siri for reminders, it's always going to default it to personal. So you can tell it what list to go to or you can stick with its default. That's all I want to touch on this exact second for basic list, and we'll come back to some other things, but I want to tell you about the grocery list. Would you like to know about the grocery list feature?
I would. And I will say this. I am an avid user of the Reminders app, but I did not know any of those things that you just told me about, like the way I could break it down. Yeah, I mean, I'll say, hey, Siri, add this to my reminders, and then like it's super generic and I'll tell it a date and a time and stuff. But yeah, that's why I was like, oh, I want to pick up my phone and start doing this because I'm going to geek out.
You want me to rock your world a little more?
Yes. So the grocery list, is that where we're going to?
Well, now I want to tell you something else about the basic one, then I'll rock your world with the grocery list.
Okay.
So with the basic one, so let's say we're doing the doggy pedicure, right? You can't, oh no, you're going to call your mom. You're going to call your mom, but you want to remember to call her when you get home because you were visiting her and you're at her house and she's like, call me when you get home. You can have the reminder say when you get home. So like it knows your location. So it'll remind you when you get there. You can also have it remind you to tell somebody something when you're texting them. You can add a thing that says, so for me, with my son, I don't want to bother him during school. So I know he gets out at whatever time his last class is on campus. So I'll have a reminder that says, remind me to tell Brayden about the dentist appointment the next time he texts me. And so a thing will pop up when we're texting to remind me. That's very cool. Now, and I do know you know about schedules text. I feel like we need to tell your friends about scheduled text because not everybody knows about this.
I love that. I love scheduling text and emails. But yeah, tell them about scheduling texts.
I think it's kind of a sneaky feature that came through, not on the most recent update, but the one before that, because not a lot of people even know about it. So you can schedule a text. So even though Reminders has something that in its features, it'll say, when I'm texting so-and-so, remind me XYZ, you could just schedule a text. So I'm going to use my oldest son. He's at UK. And I do this a lot where I'm like, is he in class? Is he not in class? I don't know where he is. But I know he's going to be home at least by 4. So when I need to send him something like, hey, we've got dinner plans at whatever, I will schedule a text. So we're just going to bring him up here. Oh, he just told me he passed a class. So that's good. So we're going to go, hi, dinner. And then on the plus sign that's out to the side here, you're going to see what his grade was in physics. When you get to the plus sign, you have all these options. This is where people are sending voice memos and fun little graphics. You're going to scroll down to where you see send later. I know, isn't it the best? You and I are like just totally geeking out on the send later.
Yeah.
And then you literally pick when you're going to send it. And you can send like forever out. I mean, not really forever, but pretty far out. So I do this a lot with my clients that I need to remind them that we're coming. So, and I work my office hours really early before most normal people are up and out of bed. So I'll sit down in the morning and be like, okay, I need to text, client A, client B, client C, their reminder. Well, I'll schedule it. And I know that I need to remind them the night before. So I'm going to send them a text. We're going to pretend we're Santa. And on Christmas Eve at 1:21, I'm going to remind them that I'm bringing them gifts, right? So you can schedule this all out. And I don't know about you, but I will have my kids, like if they're like, don't forget I need to sign some paper. I'm like, okay, send me a reminder for tomorrow morning at 6:30. So when you get up, we'll get it out. So sidebar, irrelevant to reminders. If you don't know about it, friends, it is a game changer.
I think so. I mean, because just like you're saying, from a business standpoint, I use it like Collier, my producer, and I will do that to each other because we're on different time zones. So we'll do the send later. I do it all the time, like with friends and family, just like you said, like, oh, I know they're doing something right now, but I want to get this out of my brain and get this task kind of like off my list. And so, yeah, it's a great tool to use.
And I'm sure with your team, like with ours, we try not to message each other on the weekend, but my brain doesn't shut off. So if I'm working on the weekend, I'll schedule it for like 9 a.m. on Monday. But it is a great tool to use with your friends. It's a great tool to use with your kids and your partner because because maybe you're talking about something that your partner needs to do tomorrow. And he's like, can you remind me? And I'm like, I don't have to remember tomorrow to remind you. How about I just schedule you a text right now to go to you tomorrow at 3 that you need to XYZ. So sidebar, we went on a side quest, my friend. So that is a fun thing. Okay, grocery list. Now, I used to teach my clients if you use the same grocery app, so whether it's Kroger or Whole Foods or Walmart delivery, whatever, you could just log in and share the same app, right? So my husband and I use Kroger a lot, so we just had the same login and we would add whatever groceries to the app. Well, we've been kind of bebopping around because our side of town just got a fresh market, so that's exciting. Sometimes over by Whole Foods, sometimes I go to Kroger. Now, in reminders, I'm going to go back to that little button at the top. Remember this little guy that looks like the list? You're going to click create list. I'm going to make food list. And instead of clicking standard type, I'm going to click on list type and I'm going to click groceries. Okay. This is the coolest thing.
So it's already in there. They have it as groceries ready to go.
It's the only list that Apple has basically created for you, right?
Okay. Because it's pretty universal. Everybody's got to have some food.
The cool thing that it does is it sorts your food in the way it would be in the aisles at the store.
Stop it.
I know, right? Okay, so what do we need cookies. We definitely need cookies. So I'm going to type it. It hasn't sorted it yet, but I just typed cookies. I'm going to hit my enter button. Boom.
Okay.
It just put it under snacks
and candy.
Okay. Milk. We're going to hit. So I'm going to hit enter. So I typed milk.
Okay.
It hasn't sorted yet. I'm going to hit enter. I'm going to try if I do this backwards. Oh, this is I don't know how teachers do it where they read backwards. Okay, let me see if I can hit it at the same time. Boom.
Dairy, eggs, and cheese.
So it just sorted it. And I share the grocery list with my husband. So now he can add stuff. Whoever happens to be out on whatever side of town, doesn't matter what store, it's already got it sorted. And then you just check off the list.
Okay.
And again, you can add your kids if they have phones. They can add stuff to the list. 'Cause I've been really trying to teach my kids, like, if you take the last thing of whatever, before you toss it in there, please add it to the list.
Yes.
Otherwise, I don't want to hear you complain that we don't have XYZ.
Yeah.
So it sorts it completely. So let's see, what's another thing that we would need at the store? I need ground beef. I need some beef. So I'm going to type ground beef. It just sits it down there, and then I'm going to hit return. Boop,
and it's under meat.
And again, you can use Siri, and you can tell Siri, hey, Siri, add ice cream. Oh, she's not listening now. Hey, Siri, add ice cream to my grocery list.
Okay, I added it.
And then she just adds it, and sure enough, she's over there. So let me show you how to add a person to your list. No, Siri, honey, be quiet. We're not coming to you anymore. So I'm going to go to my food list that I just created. So here it is. So you're going to share this grocery list with your partner. So you're going to go into the list we just created, which is called food. The up arrow, you're going to click the up arrow. Okay. And it's going to give you options. It says food, collaboration. You're going to collaborate with somebody. I am going to click, my sweet husband's going to get another grocery list. He's going to be so confused by life. I click his face, it sends it over to him, and then it just invites him and he adds it to his. So now you have 2 people on your list. So you can make a list for your team, like, who needs to buy what product for what? You can make a list for your kids, depending on sports, what they might need for sports. So that's how you would add an additional person.
And so then, like in this instance, your husband now has the list. So if he adds something to that list, it also populates on yours. Okay.
Correct. So everybody will see what's on the list.
Okay. Nice.
So that grocery one is very cool. I really do like the grocery one a lot. So that's the 2 types of list. You've got basic list and then you have your grocery list. And you can add anybody to any list by just using that little up arrow. Okay.
I enjoy that it's a little bit of a departure from what you would think of normally when you think of like, an organizer is on the podcast. What's she talking about? Because you're giving people the tools that will support the pretty aesthetic organization that you've put into place in their house. So you come in, you do all this stuff, you help them purge, you help them reorganize, and then now these things are what allows them to maintain it and have the lifestyle that they want, which keeps them organized.
Right, because I think part of the pickle is it's not that they don't want to do it or can't do it. There's just not enough tools in place to do it. So sometimes what we talk through is like, what type of list do you need around your house? Maybe you need a house maintenance list. Again, maybe it's that you have the window washer come once a year, but you can't remember what time of year you do it or who you contact. You're going to add that to your house maintenance. I have a house maintenance list. My husband's added to it, and then all those things repeat at a certain time.
Nice.
So it kind of just takes it off your brain so you can focus on the more important things. The repeat feature is huge. I use it a lot for work, again, with like filing, like categorizing my mileage. So I'm not doing that at the end of every year. I do it every 2 weeks. Things that you want to add or, even the laundry, right? So yeah. I've taught my kids, if you put a load of laundry in, have Siri add it to the reminders to remind you in 30 minutes to swap it.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't have to be big, elaborate things.
I do that. I do that all the time. Like, remind me to do this, remind me to do that. My washer has this 5-minute long song though that goes off. So I can never forget about it.
I'm like immune to it. Oh, you just got back from a trip, right?
I did. Yes.
Okay. So I have another little, what would you call it, feature that you can do. We travel a lot, and I kept having to remember the same things. Like, what do I want to pack in my bag? Like, I always pack a nightlight in our backpack so that I can put it in the bathroom and not all the lights stay on or whatever. I always want portable chargers. I want my little Roku so I can watch a movie maybe in the evenings. So you can make a list, and it becomes a template.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So I've got my list here that's called travel. All right. I'm going to go and put whatever things, and I just kind of made a copy so you can see all the things I'm taking on my trips. So here's things that are safe for you to see that I'm taking on my trip. So here's my travel list. Okay. And it's going to stay just like this. And as you think of things that you want to take every trip, you're going to add to it. Now, let's pretend I am going to go to Paris. I'm going to Paris. I'm so excited about my Paris trip. I'm going to go to that little button at the top. I'm going to keep coming back to this because I think we can't hear these kind of things enough. You're going to go to the template swipey thingy.
Oh,
Instead
okay.
of new list, I'm going to click template. I'm going to use the travel template. I think I skipped a step to show you how. You probably want to know, how did you create that template? You didn't tell me that part, Tara. You're right. Liz, I didn't. Let me go back a step. Okay, to have a template, let's make Liz Podcast a template. Liz Podcast, there she is. Remember those little 3 dots I was trying to show you earlier when I messed up? I'm going to hit the 3 dots and I'm going to go whoop-de-doo. Save as template.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So now Liz Podcast is a template. So I'm going to go back. Let's circle back to where I was when I made our first Paris list. I'm going to go on another trip. I'm going on, where am I going now? Where am I going now?
Milan.
Oh, that's the one I have to spell correctly.
Milan.
Ooh, that's an easy word, actually. Well, that's where we're going. So I'm going to make a new list, but I'm going to click template, and we're going to pretend that Liz Podcast is what we're going to do in Milan.
Okay.
Ooh, you could do a pod in Milan. That'd be amazing. So I click Liz Podcast. I'm going to call my new list Milan instead, and I'm going to hit save. And now I'm going to have a list called Milan that looks exactly like your other list, the podcast.
Shut up. I mean, this is so exciting. I'm just thinking about all the times that I'm packing and like leaving notes. And this way I can just pull it over and then edit it as needed and delete
you're gonna
it.
Create a standard list. That's your packing list. You're going to add to it when your team thinks of things. So then when you do like an install at the University of Kentucky, you're going to make a new list from that template, and it doesn't ruin the original list.
Yes. Yes. I love that because I'm always creating them from scratch now. And so this is really going to simplify things. And I think it's such a good tool for people. Do you have go-to templates that you recommend people use regularly?
Well, I thought I was going to make myself a little. Oh, okay. I had one for you. So your install day.
Yeah.
Right? You've got your install day checklist. I've got photographer friends. I've got my photography list. If you've got event day setups, birthday parties, like if you always have the go-to things that you're forgetting. Oh, I really wanted the sparklers this time. Moving checklist. I've got clients that tend to move a lot somehow. Moving a lot. Got for my kids, if it's something that like, hey, I'm going to take a swim team trip. Like, what is it that we need to make sure we pack in our bags? Because teach your kids this stuff, right? I mean, the kids are growing up in a digital age, so they're not using a paper planner. My oldest was given an iPad from UK when he started at UK. Oh. And again, it's an iPad thing. So I'm like, just use your list. Like, what do you need to take every time you go here? Or is there a certain thing? He's in the engineering program. So I'm like, for each test, is there something you always want to make sure you have? Like, is it the calculator? Is it your iPad? Like, and it's okay if it's a smaller list, but your brain just needs to be relieved from some of those things. So those would be the type of templates you could make. The travel one's my favorite, truly, because I feel like everyone's always like, did I pack XYZ? So that one's kind of my favorite one. Ooh. Do you want another fun little feature?
Absolutely.
So you're on the interwebs. You're searching for things. Maybe you're looking for a new recipe. So I'm going to go over to what kind of recipe? You know what? I'm really into cookies right now. So we're going to go make some dark and stormy night cookies. That seems good.
Okay.
And I'm like, oh no, crap. I was supposed to go I have a meeting. I was supposed to go pick up a kid. I can add this to reminders for later. So there's 2 ways to do this. Number 1 is I can click on the little button. Oh, let me go back so I can show you the little button down here with the little triple dots.
Okay.
And yours might be in a different spot. Let me preface this with I have updated to the most recent iOS 26. Yes. A lot of people haven't. So your dots might be up here at the top.
The dots will be wherever to the right of the URL.
So I did notice that when they upgraded to 26, the search bar went down below. So if you're looking at your iPhone and yours doesn't look like mine, you probably are on a lower iOS and you can upgrade and then it'll be on the bottom. Okay, so you're going to click those little dots and you're going to click share where you would normally share this with a friend. And there's reminders right here. So it's going to remind it and it's going to add it to the list. And I'm hoping this works because this is a really cool feature if I can get it to work. Okay, we're going to tell Siri to tell us to remind us.
Okay.
Hey, Siri, can you remind me about this at 7 p.m.?
Okay, I added it.
Get out of town. So at 7 p.m., she's going to pop up with a reminder, make these cookies.
And all I was sitting on this webpage. So you're just sitting on the webpage. All of a sudden you got to go, hey, Siri, remind me about this at 7 p.m. And it adds it.
I love this because we're all so busy running a mile a minute. There's always something going on. And this really helps to just, like you said, get it out of your brain. It'll pop up when you need it. And so like future you will be very thankful for current you.
Right. And I try to don't worry about trying to remember the fancy little features. Those are fun for sure. But I tell people that are just starting out with reminders, just get the basic list. Like just come up with the things that are pertinent to your life specifically. Talk with your kids, talk with your partner, talk with your team, figure out, okay, how can we implement this well? What type of things that are you thinking of? Another little thing that I do is I have someone that helps me with my website. So when I have things that I need done on the website, you can do like a hashtag. And so, for example, Natalie's my girl that helps me with my website. So I have hashtags down here, but if I'm going to click on it, it'll show me anything in all the categories that have been hashtagged to Natalie. So you can do that. Like if you've got different team members and you want to assign things to them, you could add the hashtag so you could filter it by that. Even if it was in different categories, you can do it by kid. I have one that talks, this is the one I use a lot, actually, places to eat. I know that sounds silly, but I don't know if you've ever been somewhere with friends and they're like, hey, you should try XYZ place. Well, I'd love to. And then I forget. So I just literally say, I am so sorry. Give me 1 minute. Let me write this down in my reminders and then I'll put my phone away. I do the same thing with books. Like I know there's Goodreads and I love Goodreads, but if I'm somewhere and someone mentions a book, I'm just going to say, give me 2 seconds. Let me add it on here. Things to watch. I have watch lists with my husband. And when someone says, have you seen? I will forget by the time I leave. So I have one that says watch list. It's shared with my husband. I'll go in here and I'll say, give me the name of what you said and tell me what platform it's on. Because the other thing I don't want to do is search for, is it Apple? Is it Hulu? Is it Paramount? Is it Netflix? So I have a whole list of shows I would like to watch with a lot. I'm very behind. So that's another way to use a list. Again, it's just as people suggest things to you, where do you want to eat? Where do you want to go? That kind of thing. So you can use it. But again, it's like start small. Maybe you start with the grocery list. Maybe you start with house maintenance, you need to get done. And my biggest tip, though, I will say, and I used to do this with my paper planner and my paper to-do list. You need to assign your to-dos a date. So yes, make your list. Maybe you make your list first, but then I want you to give it a date. For example, I need to remember to follow up with certain clients or reach out to them if there's a cancellation, or maybe they need to add a date for March. And their plate's busy enough. So I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna send you a text on January 2nd. And you can either schedule the text, or if it's too far out, for example, I have a list in here that says, Ellen won't mind. Ellen, I need to find her dates for 2026. And it has a date on here of 1/20/26. So I assign almost everything I put on my list with a date, so that it's not really as much of a to-do list as I'm going to do it list. And so that when you bring up your reminders, and mine lives on my Mac as well as here, those to-dos that are for today are going to pop up. So a running to-do list doesn't really help if you haven't given it a date you're going to do.
Yeah. That's more wishful thinking. It's kind of the goal mindset.
And again, things like my want to read, my want to watch, those are just running lists, right? But my business ones, the ones for the kids with certain Christmas gifts, I can't show you that list, but those tend to have a date. It's soon that I need to get whatever it is done. So I try to assign a date to it. Another little tip is so these are kind of the default ones at the top.
Yeah.
But you can pin one of your favorite ones to the top. So you would just click on and long hold, and then it's going to say, do you want to pin it? And I'm like, yeah, I'd like to pin it. And then it pops up to the top.
Okay, nice.
So, yeah, and you can unpin it same way. You're just going to long hold, unpin. So if there's some that you want to show up here at all times, you can just pin them to the top.
Well, you sort of answered one of my questions, which is if this is overwhelming to somebody, but they want to get started, like what should their top 3 lists be? And so you said groceries and maybe household tasks. And what would your third be?
I think it probably depends on who I'm speaking with, right? So if I've got someone that's got young kids and they're tired of the stuff landing in the drop zone.
Yes.
Maybe I have kind of like a house maintenance, not the annual maintenance, but maybe the weekly maintenance.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
So maybe for them, it's a Sunday reset list. Let's call it that.
Yeah.
So for some of my kids my clients with younger kids, maybe I tell them, look, the shoes are always going to land. I mean, it's the reality. My kids are older now, but when they were young, I could have either fought the system or just realized they're tired too and stuff just lands there at the end of the day. So on Sundays, we're going to do a Sunday reset. So maybe for my clients with younger kids, they're going to do a Sunday reset list and you get the whole family involved. It just depends on where you are in your life to figure out kind of what that third list is. The grocery one, I think, is a game changer. The annual stuff that needs to get done, or like we change our air filters every 3 months.
Right.
But hand to God, I would forget what day. I don't know when we did it last. So that one for me lives on that house maintenance one. Every 3 months, I want those changed out. Another one that I like to do is once a year, like take the screens out and put them away for winter. But in the spring reset, I'm going to spray them down and what have you. I would say sit down. And if you are normally a pen to paper girly, do your big brain dump. Do your really big brain dump of all the things that you've wanted to get done. All right. And then I would do your little categories. And that's how I would probably start by creating your lists. And then look at your planner and figure out when can I get these things done.
Yeah, I think that's good advice. And I love what you're saying about the Sunday reset, because that goes back to this is how you keep things tidy and you keep it working well and everybody's on board and one person's not getting exhausted by always trying to maintain the organization of the house.
Right. Because the thing is, even our team, and we can come in one day and it's going to look amazing. But if we don't give you the tools to maintain it, I mean, yes, we like job security, but I also want to empower our clients and your listeners to kind of reduce a little bit of their mental load and figure out systems. I mean, the phones are here to stay, right? AI is kind of here to stay. So how can you use it in your favor? Like use it as a personal secretary, use it as administration, use it that way to take some things off your plate. Because part of the time you're not lazy, you just have too much on your mind.
Yeah.
So the second, and I got to tell you, it really is freeing. Like if you're in the middle of cooking, because I know your brain's the same way. You're cooking, you're driving, or whatever, and you're just mile a minute.
Yep.
Or I've literally woken up in the middle of the night and rolled over and been like, hey, Siri, can you remind me tomorrow? Because if I don't get it out of my head, I won't go back to sleep.
Agreed.
It's just the way I'm wired. So instead of like being like, remember tomorrow to do this, remember tomorrow to do this, literally, and you can go old school, you can go pen to paper by your bed. That's fine. I totally get it. But I think if we can give ourselves permission to actually use the phone in that way, you will find your brain freeing up a little. Not much. I'm still pretty brain foggy, but at least a little. But my bigger thing, I think, if I was to step back a little bit, is to just add a date to your list as well, is to assign them a time to do it.
Yeah, that way it gets done. I agree. Back to your comments about, the phone is here to stay. I appreciated what you said about if you're out with somebody and they recommend a book or a restaurant or a show, you're like, give me just a second. I'm going to note that here, because I think it can be so rude when someone just pulls out their phone and starts typing and they don't say what they're doing. And so you're trying to figure out, ooh, like, are you taking a note? Did you just decide you don't want to listen to me anymore? And so that's such a good way to say, hey, just let me write this down. I really appreciate that suggestion.
This past year, in 2025, one of the things I did is I stopped wearing a wearable. I've been trying to be very intentional, because I just there was things I was doing that didn't even realize, like that I was losing presence with my people. And so yes. So please, if you're going to do something like that, just give, because I do want to be mindful and I want to teach my kids the same thing, right?
Yes.
So I try hard to put it away so yes, give me 2 seconds. Let me just type this down. We'll put it right back.
Yes. I love that so much. Tara, thank you for coming on. Like I've said a few times through the episode, I am excited to implement these things myself. And I know that listeners are going to walk away with some really good actionable items. If they want to connect with you further, outside of the podcast, what's the best way for them to do that?
So we do have a blog that stays pretty active, and that's just on taramstewart.com. So the hope is to have a blog about this, right? We'll try to get that out there. I think this one might be easier via video blog, but you can also find me on Instagram, same handle, Tara M. Stewart. And then just if you needed to reach out and you want a little bit of help, there's a contact form on our website.
Awesome. And we'll put all of that in the show notes. Thank you so much for coming on.
My pleasure.
Welcome to Liz's House Hot Takes. This is where I take the lessons I've learned over the last 16 years of designing Greek houses and offer you my pro tips. Here's today's house hot take. Small projects deserve timelines too. Even quick updates like new lighting, recovering chairs, or swapping out artwork require planning. Electricians, upholsterers, and other vendors book up fast, especially during peak seasons. Don't assume small projects can happen overnight. Treat them with the same care as big renovations, and you'll avoid any last-minute scrambles. Thanks for listening to another House Hot Take. For more inspiration, check out the PDR Interiors Instagram or TikTok. I'm Liz Alexander, and this is the Sorority Chat podcast. Catch you next time. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you're listening on a podcast platform, make sure to follow the show so you never miss an episode. And if you got something out of today's conversation, we'd love for you to leave us a 5-star review. It helps us reach more listeners just like you. If you're watching on YouTube, be sure to check out this video right here or this one over here. And don't forget to like and subscribe. It really helps us out. I'm Liz Alexander, and this is the Sorority Chat podcast. Catch you next time. This podcast is produced by Collier Landry for Don't Touch My Radio. Copyright Liz Alexander.